The Arizona desert shimmered under the merciless sun when Elijah Thornton spotted an unusual glint on the horizon. At 53, the botanist had grown accustomed to the desert's tricks, mirages, and light, playing off rocks, but something about this reflection seemed deliberate, almost desperate. "Come on, Winston," he called to his aging German shepherd. "Let's check it out." 3 years since Marianne's passing, Elijah still spoke aloud as if someone might answer. His research station, once a shared dream, had become his hermitage, a place to lose himself in desert flora and forget the emptiness of his life as he approached the glinting object. Winston began to whine. Through his binoculars, Elijah could make out what appeared to be wreckage, twisted metal, unlike any aircraft he recognized on beside it. A crumpled figure. "Hello?" he called out, approaching cautiously. "Are you hurt?" The figure stirred weakly. A woman, though something about her seemed off. Her skin had a faint purple undertone, and her hair, white as desert sand, moved strangely in the still air, almost like underwater plants. Blood or something like it. Teal and viscous trickled from a gash on her forehead. Her eyes flickered open, revealing irises of gold with vertical pupils. Definitely not human. "Water," she whispered, the word guttural and halting, as though she'd only recently learned it. Elijah's scientific mind immediately began cataloging observations even as he unscrewed his canteen. The woman's body temperature seemed dangerously low despite the desert heat. Her breathing pattern was erratic, 3 quick breaths followed by 1 deep inhalation. "I'm going to help you," he said, supporting her head as she drank. "My research station is about 2 miles east." She nodded weakly, then slipped into unconsciousness. Up close, Elijah noticed small, almost translucent scales along her hairline and jawbone. This was no costume, no elaborate makeup. Whoever she was, she wasn't from Earth. Elijah had spent decades studying life's adaptations to extreme environments. If anyone could keep this alien woman alive, it was him. He fashioned a makeshift stretcher from his jacket and broken parts of the wreckage. As he pulled her toward safety, Winston leading the way, he noticed desert plants bending toward her unconscious form, as though drawn by some invisible force. "What are you?" he whispered, more to himself than to her. Back at the station, Elijah cleared his research table and gently laid her down. Her pulse, located at her wrist, but beating in a complex, almost musical rhythm, was weakening. Acting on instinct, he placed a potted succulent near her hand. Immediately, her fingers twitched, and the plant seemed to glow faintly. "Photosynthesis," he murmured in wonder. "You can absorb energy directly from plants." He quickly gathered his specimen collection, surrounding her with desert flora. The color gradually returned to her strange face, her breathing stabilizing. As night fell, her eyes opened again. This time, they glowed softly in the darkness. "Thank you," she said, her voice clearer now. "I am Nora. My ship... Emergency landing." "I'm Elijah," he replied, still hardly believing what he was seeing. "You're safe now." Outside, the desert wind picked up, carrying away traces of the crashed ship. In the distance, headlights appeared on the highway, unusual for this remote area. "Rest," Elijah said, pulling blinds closed. "Something tells me we both have a lot of explaining to do." Strange healing morning light filtered through the blinds as Elijah checked on his unusual patient. Nora sat upright, fingers gently stroking the leaves of a barrel cactus, which had inexplicably bloomed overnight despite being months from its flowering season. "The plants here," she said, her English remarkably improved. "They speak differently than those of Terraloon, but the language is similar enough, Terraloon?" Elijah poured coffee, his hands trembling slightly. "Is that your home?" "Third planet of the Lyrian system," Nora explained. "We are botanically symbiotic species. My kind evolved alongside sentient flora." Elijah's scientific curiosity overrode his initial fear. "That's why you can draw energy from plants, and why they respond to you." "Yes." Nora stood, wobbling slightly. Her jumpsuit, made from something resembling fabric but with an almost living quality, had repaired itself overnight. "On Terraloon, we heal through plant connection. The medical council would not approve of this primitive method, but your desert species are surprisingly Potent. Primitive. Elijah laughed for the first time in months. I've spent my career studying these plants. Nora's face flushed Tila blush, he realized. I meant no offense. Your knowledge is impressive for, she paused, searching for diplomatic phrasing. For a human without photosynthetic abilities. He offered her smile-revealed teeth with slight serrations. Exactly. Over breakfast, Nora explained her presence on Earth. Political upheaval on Terra Lune had targeted scientists like her who advocated coexistence with other species. She'd escaped with research data, but had been shot down near Earth's atmosphere. Others will come looking, she warned. Both friends and enemies. Elijah should have been frightened, should have contacted authorities. Instead, he found himself offering his greenhouse as a sanctuary. The university thinks I'm conducting private research. Nobody visits. That afternoon, he showed Nora his botanical studies. She moved through his greenhouse with reverence, communicating with plants through gentle touches that left them visibly energized. Your research on drought adaptation, she observed. Examining his notes, it's heading in the right direction. But you've missed something fundamental about cellular water retention. She took his pencil, sketching molecular structures he'd never imagined. This compound exists in your saguaros, but in dormant form. With slight modification, hours passed as they exchanged knowledge. Elijah's lifetime of research meeting Nora's evolutionary understanding. The barrier between their species seemed to diminish with every shared discovery. That night, watching Nora sleep surrounded by now flourishing plants, Elijah felt something unexpected, a sense of purpose he'd lost with Marianne's death. In her alien presence, his hermitage felt like home again. The following morning, Elijah found Nora examining his computer with remarkable proficiency.
I've assimilated your language while healing, she explained.
I accessed your internet briefly. There are concerning reports of unusual atmospheric disturbances near your Arizona. Elijah checked the news. Meteorological phenomena. SUSPECTED meteor activity, increased military presence for routine exercises. They're looking for me, Nora said quietly, and they'll find the crash site soon. Outside, Winston began barking. Through the window, Elijah spotted a dust cloud approaching, vehicles moving with purpose across the desert. We need to hide your presence, he said, heart racing. Quickly, as the vehicles drew closer, Nora touched his arm. The sensation was electric, almost literally a current of something passing between them. I trust you, Elijah, she said. Few in my world would help an outsider this way. Then we're both exceptions to our species, he replied, surprising himself with the conviction in his voice. The black SUVs circled Elijah's research station like vultures, while he casually watered plants outside. Nora remained hidden in a secret room behind his specimen storage, a place he'd built years ago to maintain certain plants at specific temperatures. Dr. Thornton. A woman in a dark suit approached, flashing credentials too quickly to read. I'm Agent Roswell. We're investigating unusual atmospheric phenomena in this region. Atmospheric phenomena. Elijah raised an eyebrow, channeling the irritable recluse he'd become known as. Is that what we're calling dust storms now? We have reason to believe something may have crashed in this vicinity. Agent Roswell's eyes scanned the property. Have you observed anything unusual in the past 72 hours? Besides your convoy disturbing my research? No. Elijah gestured to his equipment. I've been conducting controlled experiments on xerophytic adaptations. Requires constant monitoring. Agent Roswell seemed unconvinced. Mind if we look around? Federal land. I can't stop you, Elijah shrugged. Just don't disturb the southeastern plot's time-sensitive germination studies. As agents combed the area, Elijah maintained his facade, while anxiety churned within. He'd repositioned his equipment to hide the unusual energy readings Nora generated. Still, they were thorough. Interesting research station, Roswell commented, examining photographs on his wall, mostly of Elijah and Marianne in happier days. Your wife? Deceased. 3 years now, I'm sorry. Her expression softened momentarily. You've been out here alone since then? Just me and the plants, he answered truthfully. After an excruciating hour, the agents departed with warnings to report anything unusual. Elijah watched until their dust trail disappeared before rushing to Nora's hiding place. She emerged, looking drained. "They have detection equipment," she whispered. "I had to suppress my bioenergy signature." "Can you maintain that?" "Not indefinitely. It's like holding your breath." That night, they observed distant lights sweeping the desert, the search continuing. Under starlight, Nora pointed toward constellations, identifying her home system invisible to human eyes, but present in her memory. "Your isolation," she said softly. "It reminds me of my research outpost on Terraloon's southern continent. Days would pass without speaking to another sentient being. Yet here we are," Elijah remarked. "Two species who evolved light years apart, both understanding loneliness." Her hand found his, warm and slightly textured. "On Terraloon, connection between beings is both physical and botanical. We share energy, memories, emotions. How?" In answer, Nora placed her palm against his chest. Suddenly, Elijah felt a rush of images: crystalline forests, twin moons rising over purple waters, the sensation of photosynthesis as energy flowed through alien cells.
Yes.
"Remarkable," he gasped when the connection broke. "Surface-level sharing," she explained. "Between bonded pairs on Terraloon, it goes much deeper." The implication hung between them, unspoken but palpable. Days passed with agents periodically returning. Each time Nora hid while Elijah maintained his curmudgeonly persona. Each night they spoke for hours, their worlds merging through conversation and occasional touches that transmitted glimpses of alien experience. "Won't give up," Elijah said after the third inspection. "We need a better solution." Nora had been studying his research equipment. "Perhaps we can use your legitimate work as cover. If I enhance your plants with Terraloonian properties, their unusual characteristics would explain any strange readings." "Cross-planetary botany," Elijah mused. "It could work." As moonlight bathed the greenhouse, they worked side by side, her alien knowledge merging with his human science. Their hands met over specimens, lingered longer each time. Two researchers from different worlds, finding unexpected harmony and shared purpose, and something deeper neither dared name, blooming in adversity. Modified desert plants flourished beyond Elijah's wildest expectations. Cacti produced vibrant blooms with mild bioluminescent properties. Succulents developed remarkable water retention capabilities. And his experimental drought-resistant crops yielded triple the expected harvest. "Your university will be impressed," Nora observed as they documented the results. 1 month had passed since her arrival. The government presence had diminished, though occasional drones still monitored the area. "They're already asking questions," Elijah admitted. Showing her emails from his department chair, "They want to know my breakthrough methodology." Nora touched a glowing beryl cactus flower. "We've created something neither of our worlds has seen before, a botanical bridge between species." In the greenhouse, surrounded by their hybrid creations, the air felt charged with possibility. Elijah found himself watching Nora more than the plants, the graceful way she moved. How starlight caught the subtle iridescence of her skin, the intelligence in her golden eyes. "I've been alone too long," he murmured. "As have I," she responded. Her translator abandoned weeks ago as her English had become flawless. On Terraloon, botanical symbiosis extends to emotional connection. Being cut off from that... It creates a void. "Like losing someone you love," Elijah said, thinking of Marianne. Nora nodded. "Precisely." That evening, as they cataloged specimens, their hands touched over a particularly successful hybrid. Instead of pulling away, Nora intensified the contact, sending a gentle pulse of energy between them. "On my world," she whispered, "this would be the beginning of a bonding." The greenhouse filled with the sweet scent of night-blooming flowers, responding to her elevated emotional state. Plants seemed to lean toward them, sensing the energy exchange. "Show me," Elijah said simply. Their first kiss was tentative cross-species exploration. Her lips held unfamiliar texture, a subtle sweetness. The second was deeper, more confident. Around them, flowers bloomed spontaneously. Responding to Nora's emotions, she guided his hands to specific points. Along her shoulders and spine where scaled patterns emerged. Connection nodes, she explained between kisses. Where Terralunians share energy and experience. When they finally embraced fully, the greenhouse erupted in botanical response flowers opening, vines extending, the entire collection pulsing with shared life force. Their communion transcended physical differences, creating something entirely new just as their plants had done. Afterward, lying together among flourishing greenery, Nora traced patterns on Elijah's chest. In joining with you, I've committed what some on my world would consider heresy. Yet it feels more natural than any connection I've known. We're both scientists, Elijah replied, touching the luminescent scales along her spine that now glowed with contentment. Exploring unknown territory is what we do. The peaceful moment shattered when Winston began barking frantically. Elijah checked the security system, multiple vehicles approaching, more than before. They've detected something, Nora said, quickly dressing. The energy our bonding released it would have created a significant signature. Elijah checked his equipment. Their botanical experiments had indeed released measurable energy pulses that had likely triggered government sensors. They'll take you, he realized with sudden clarity. Study you, dissect you, and they'll imprison you for harboring an alien, she added grimly. Outside, headlights cut through darkness, approaching fast. Winston's barking grew more urgent. Need to run, Elijah said. Grabbing emergency supplies he'd prepared for this possibility, Nora stood very still, head tilted as though listening to something beyond human perception. There's another option, she said finally, one I haven't told you about. Her golden eyes met his, filled with both hope and uncertainty. My people never abandoned me, Elijah. They've been searching, and I believe they've found us. Dawn broke over the Arizona desert as black SUVs surrounded the research station. Agent Roswell directed operations through a megaphone. Dr. Thornton, we know about your visitor. Come out peacefully. We mean no harm to either of you. Inside, Elijah and Nora worked frantically. She had revealed the truth. A small Terralunian scout ship had been tracking her, waiting for safe contact. Now it hovered beyond Earth's atmosphere, preparing for retrieval. The signal device was damaged in my crash, Nora explained, modifying Elijah's radio equipment. But with your satellite dish reconfigured, we can establish contact. How much time do we need? Elijah asked, watching agents deploying what looked like energy detection equipment. 10 minutes to connect, another 5 for coordinates. Outside, Roswell's voice grew more insistent. Our sensors detect non-terrestrial energy signatures. Dr. Thornton, we're authorized to use force if necessary. Winston growled at the door while Elijah made his decision. I'm coming out to talk, he called through the intercom. My visitor remains inside. She's not dangerous. She's a botanist, for heaven's sake. Ah, botanist. Roswell sounded genuinely surprised. Just like me, Elijah confirmed. Give me 5 minutes to explain before you come storming in. He stepped outside, hands raised, buying Nora precious time. Roswell approached cautiously. Dr. Thornton, where is the alien craft? Crashed about 10 miles southwest, he answered truthfully. Unsalvageable. And the visitor, Elijah gestured toward his greenhouse. See for yourself. She's transformed our understanding of botany. Those plants represent scientific breakthroughs that could help feed millions in drought regions. Roswell's expression wavered between skepticism and curiosity. This isn't about plants, Doctor. It's about national security. It's about knowledge, Elijah countered. And whether we approach new discoveries with fear or hope, inside, Nora worked feverishly, finally establishing contact. The small transceiver hummed with alien harmonics, her people responding. When Roswell's patience expired, she signaled her team forward. We're coming in, Dr. Thornton. Wait, Elijah pleaded. Whatever you think you're doing, you're making a terrible mistake. As agents breached the door, Nora completed the transmission. The greenhouse erupted with botanical energy, every hybrid plant glowing simultaneously. Temporarily blinding the intruders, Winston darted between agents, creating confusion as Elijah rushed back inside, reaching for Nora's outstretched hand. The air around them shimmered as Terralunian transportation energy enveloped them both. "What's happening?" Agent Roswell demanded, shielding her eyes. "First contact," Elijah answered simply, "just not the kind you expected." The light intensified, plants responding to Nora's farewell, releasing stored energy in spectacular display. When the glow subsided, the greenhouse remained, but Elijah, Nora, and Winston had vanished. Aboard the Terralunian vessel, Elijah gazed in wonder at his first view of Earth from Space Blue, beautiful and suddenly very small. "They'll search for us," he said. Winston, pressing against his leg for reassurance. "They won't find us," Nora assured him, her scales luminescent with joy. "Terralune needs your botanical knowledge as much as Earth did. A human perspective may help heal our world's divisions." "Us?" Elijah asked, taking her hand. "What becomes of an unprecedented cross-species relationship?" Nora guided him to a chamber filled with plants, some familiar, others utterly alien. "We explore together. We create new hybrids. We show both our worlds what's possible when differences become strengths." Through the viewport, Earth receded as the ship prepared for faster-than-light travel. Elijah felt momentary sadness for the world he'd known, mixed with exhilaration for the universe opening before him. "I never imagined my botanical research would lead to this," he marveled. "The most significant discoveries rarely follow expected paths," Nora replied, initiating their bonding touch as stars blurred around them. Winston barked excitedly, already adapting to the ship's gravity in the ship's botanical chamber. Earth, plants, and Terralunian specimens would soon grow together. It's like the unexpected connection between two beings from different worlds who found in each other not just survival, but a flourishing neither could have achieved alone. As Earth disappeared from view, Elijah embraced both his past and future. With Nora beside him, the universe awaited an endless garden of possibility.